Hello, this is Max. Today, I will tell you a story about two sisters who competed in musical skill and secretly met each other's boyfriends. You can subscribe to the channel after watching. It helps us a lot in realizing the content. A girl named Moira is skilled at playing the violin. When the grandfather clock sounds, she makes the decision to do the unthinkable. She leaves enigmatic messages in a notebook and on the wall before doing so. Juliet and Vivian Lower are twin sisters who are both involved in classical music. While both possess talent, Vivian is a true prodigy. Juliet, who is introverted and reserved, spends her time practicing the piano in her room. Unexpectedly, Vivian enters and inquires about her sheet music. Since Juliet doesn't know its whereabouts, Vivian borrows her headphones instead. In the living room, Juliet encounters her parents' friends. Mike congratulates her on getting accepted into Juilliard, but Juliet corrects him, explaining that it's Vivian who achieved that. David, Juliet's father, interjects and informs Mike that Juliet is taking a gap year to consider her future. Juliet expresses approval by smiling at her father. Mike changes the subject, yet remarks that not everyone's aspirations come to fruition, displaying rudeness. The mother discloses that both Juliet and Vivian are in their final year at Lineberg Academy of the Arts, the boarding school where Moira's tragic incident occurred. Juliet conveys her lack of familiarity with Moira. David advises Juliet to prepare for their upcoming trip to alleviate any awkwardness. Upon arriving at the boarding school, Vivian enthusiastically greets Max with a kiss. David playfully comments that the car can unload itself. He then offers comfort to Juliet for not being accepted into Juilliard. In her room, Juliet discovers a gift from her parents, a shirt bearing a motivational quote. Upon hearing laughter from outside, Juliet locks her room. Gordon announces auditions to replace Moira in the music showcase, urging everyone to submit their pieces to Dr. Cask. Juliet, Vivian, Max, and Alexis discuss the unexpectedness of the audition. Alexis refers to Moira as a recluse who never engaged with others, though she left cryptic marks on the wall. Vivian views the audition as an opportunity, while Max and Alexis commend Vivian's musical prowess that led to her acceptance to Juilliard. In the library, Vivian inquires if Juliet intends to change her performance piece. Juliet replies that it's too late and implies Roger, their teacher, would disapprove. Vivian encourages Juliet to express herself to Roger, jesting about his disfigured hand. After Vivian leaves, Juliet discovers Moira's notebook. Following Roger's guidance, Juliet practices the piano. She later confronts Roger about changing her piece to match Vivian's, but he insists on Mozart. Juliet watches Cask guide Vivian's performance from outside the room. She subsequently hands her piece to Cask after he exits. That evening, Juliet practices the same piece as her sister. She exits her room and hears a violin playing. She traces the source to Moira's room, where the playing ceases suddenly. Inside the room, Juliet uncovers a sun symbol akin to the one in the notebook. She realizes the notebook is actually a musical composition, and she begins to play it. Cask appears in the reflection behind her and discloses the piece as Tartini's Devil's Trill. He adds that Vivian remains oblivious to Juliet's rendition. Embarrassed, Juliet pleads with Cask not to reveal this to Vivian. Cask extends his well wishes and departs. While examining the notebook, Juliet comes across a torn page. In the morning, Vivian urgently knocks on Juliet's door, alerting her to their potential lateness for the audition. Juliet realizes she has her period, causing her to panic. Empathizing with her sister, Vivian comforts Juliet and encourages her to concentrate on the audition. The two proceed to the audition. Juliet attempts to converse with Vivian, who remains engrossed in her performance and brushes her off. In response, Juliet goes to the restroom and takes several pills. Upon returning after Vivian's performance, Juliet plays the same piece, stunning Vivian. As Juliet plays, she suddenly finds herself in the hallway leading to Moira's room. Inside, she envisions herself on stage, receiving the audience's applause. Overwhelmed, Juliet sheds tears. Gordon awakens Juliet since she apparently fainted during her performance. She then notices that the initial image in the notebook depicts 3 balls in a hand, paralleling the tablets she ingested. In class, Vivian gives Juliet a drawing of a raised middle finger while their professor commends Juliet's performance. Juliet apologizes to Vivian, who accuses her of humiliation and jealousy. Learning that Vivian was accepted, Juliet becomes deeply upset. Juliet converses with Roger, who advises her to manage her expectations and consider roles as an accompanist. Frustrated, Juliet claims she has sacrificed too much and accuses Roger of favoring Vivian. Admitting his bias, Roger acknowledges Juliet has outgrown him. Roger proposes that Juliet explore other institutions, but she insults him, labeling him a failed, alcoholic pianist who ended up teaching. In response, Roger slaps her. Roger faces suspension, prompting Juliet to request assignment to the esteemed Dr. Cask. Juliet discovers bloody tampons on her shelf and confronts Vivian, who asserts they are even. Juliet informs Vivian about her new assignment under Cask, Vivian's instructor, and congratulates her before departing. Juliet consumes pills and anxiously anticipates Cask's arrival. Upon his appearance, he directs her to perform a chromatic scale from B-flat and a Mozart movement. He then requests Saint Saëns, her chosen audition piece, questioning whether it was meant to provoke her sister. Cask inquires about Juliet's motivation for changing her piece. She hesitates, offers a smile, and claims ignorance. Upon further prodding, Juliet confesses that she aims to outshine her sister. However, Cask reassures her that Vivian's technique isn't superior. Juliet expresses skepticism, leading Cask to inquire why she views Vivian as extraordinary. He describes Vivian's playing as if confronting imminent danger. Juliet seeks information on how Moira bested Vivian initially. Cask recounts how Moira played with intensity, as if facing a malevolent presence. He emphasizes that music is a fierce competition, urging Juliet to overcome any obstacles, even her sister. Cask departs. During the night, Juliet peruses Moira's notebook and observes a radiance on illustration. A text from her father regarding Da Vinci's ambidextrity triggers her recollection. Using a mirror, she unveils Moira's hidden messages, except for the last torn page. Awakened by messages on her phone, Juliet witnesses her cabinet emitting a yellow glow. Upon opening it, she encounters Moira's distorted visage in the mirror. After Max's texts rouse her, Juliet hesitates to attend the senior party, reasoning that Vivian wouldn't approve. Max insists, playfully labeling her a rebel. Discovering a nearby cave, Juliet overhears Vivian on the phone, discussing severing ties with someone she's involved with. Suddenly, Max arrives and discovers Juliet, who vomits. Later, Max and Juliet converse about their musical origins. Max praises Juliet's audition, prompting her to reveal her discovery of Moira's notebook. She believes the notebook is guiding her. The conversation shifts to Max's upcoming departure and his relationship with Vivian. He alludes to the situation's commonality, but Juliet admits she's never been kissed. Abruptly, Vivian arrives and confronts them. Juliet tries to explain, but Vivian shoves her. Irritated, Juliet pushes back, causing Vivian to tumble. Juliet then rushes into a nearby cave and becomes captivated by a vibrant yellow light resembling the sun from Moira's notebook. Vivian pursues her, urging her to stop, but she falls off a cliff. Max discovers her and swiftly calls for an ambulance. Juliet flees the scene, later waking up in her room amidst scribbles on her desk. Having no memory of the events, Juliet consults Alexis, who informs her that she recounted what happened. She is then summoned to Principal Gordon's office. Along the way, she encounters Max and Vivian on a bench. However, Vivian treats her coldly. In the office, Juliet learns that Vivian must take a 6-month piano hiatus due to broken arms. Max and Vivian are suspended for their actions outside school grounds. Unaware of Juliet's presence during the incident, Gordon informs her that, having mastered Saint Saëns, she will stand in for Vivian at the showcase to avoid altering the repertoire. Vivian discovers the news and departs. Cask congratulates Juliet, who worries about Vivian's forgiveness. Regardless, Cask emphasizes the acceptance of the opportunity. While Juliet expresses gratitude, Cask points out her soiled shoes. At night, Juliet approaches Vivian's door but discovers her sobbing on the balcony. Vivian reveals doctors' concerns about her musical future. Juliet denies causing her injuries. Furthermore, Juliet confronts Vivian about cheating on Max. Accusing Juliet of intentional harm, Vivian declares her support for Juliet over Juliet delves into Moira's history and learns that her mother fell from a ski lift and entered a coma, while her father set their house ablaze along with himself. Later, Juliet meets with Max and discloses that events from Moira's notebook are occurring to her. Max rationalizes her distress, attributing it to the approaching concert. Juliet shares Vivian's infidelity with Max, leading to their breakup. Dedicating herself to practice, Juliet suffers a fall when her chair collapses, causing her to hit her head on the piano. Cask assists her, providing his contact information and offering assistance when needed. Juliet informs Cask that their birthday is approaching and asks if he's available. She enters Moira's room, leaning against the balcony window. There, she witnesses visions of Moira's fatal jump. Max arrives and inquires about her well-being. Overwhelmed, Juliet breaks into tears and embraces Max, who discloses his breakup with Vivian. They share an intimate moment, but Max regrets it afterward and leaves. On their birthday, Juliet, Vivian, and their parents celebrate with Cask. A tense exchange occurs as the mother questions the future of classical music given its aging audience. Cask suggests that as long as there's an audience, classical music will endure, citing the centuries-old composition The Devil's Trill. Vivian's anger escalates, leading her to spill food on Cask before storming off. In the parking lot, the mother apologizes to Cask, while David realizes he's lost the valet ticket. Cask volunteers to drive Juliet to school. Juliet attempts to connect with Max, but he requests more time to sort things out, expressing regret for their previous night together. At Cask's place, he aims to boost Juliet's confidence for her significant performance. However, Juliet misinterprets his intentions and advances toward him. After Cask rebuffs her, she confronts him about his secret affair with Vivian, which she learned about from obtaining Cask's number. Juliet discovers Cask's love for Vivian and his continued calls despite their breakup. She taunts Cask, likening him to Roger, but he counters by pointing out that many great musicians never attended school. He implies that Juliet might not achieve the same greatness as revered composers. In anger, Juliet sets fire to Cask's conducting trophy. He shouts at her to leave. Returning to her room, Juliet realizes the events from Moira's notebook have transpired. The final occurrence is on the torn page, leaving her uncertain about her next fate. Juliet closes her eyes and begins to draw on the empty page. Looking at the notebook in the mirror, she sees the depiction of a woman leaping from a height. Overwhelmed, she burns the notebook and experiences a panic attack. She awakens and heads straight to the event, only to discover that Cask called in sick and won't be present. She texts Max and prepares a bath by the mirror. Vivian confronts her about the situation with Max, recalling how she assisted Juliet during a second-grade performance gone awry. Vivian asserts that no matter Juliet's onstage actions, the Juilliard Scouts won't notice her, as they're absent. She implies Juliet will remain mediocre. In frustration, Juliet submerges her hand in boiling water, consumes several pills, recalls Cask's words, and proceeds to the stage. Gordon wishes her luck. However, on stage, Juliet succumbs to a panic attack, retreats, and locks herself in her room. A brilliant yellow light appears, showing her the exit sign. Juliet ascends the stairs toward the rooftop, once more encountering the yellow light. She realizes she's been playing the piece all along on stage. Resounding applause follows her performance. Seeing the ground, Juliet smiles. That's when she lands on the monument outside the school. Regrettably, people continue their routines, oblivious to the lifeless body on the monument. Indeed, the narrative underscores the consequences of fostering a hostile, competitive environment for young individuals. If you are interested in such films, please proceed to the next video on the screen and also share your thoughts about this film in the comments. Give us a like and subscribe. Goodbye.